Hey everyone, for this episode of Adam Answers, I'm going to be going to a question that we received from Jesse Conley. And Jesse simply asked a very straightforward question. How do we use SFBT for process groups? So a little bit of background might be helpful in answering this question. One, process groups are groups where mental health therapy groups where there isn't necessarily a beginning or an end. People can kind of come and go as they choose. So it's not like you have a group for 6 sessions and that's all you get. Sometimes process groups can be set up that way, but oftentimes process groups are people come in. There's potentially nothing in common among the group members. They may not be here for a particular thing that they all share in common. And really what they're doing is they're trying to get help, mental help, in a group format. And oftentimes group formats are used because they're cost effective, because we can help more people in a quicker amount of time. And so the idea oftentimes of process groups is that people just come and they process what they need to process. There's no set format, there's no set curriculum. It's a flow as to what happens within these groups. In process groups, one of the things that I would say is solution-focused brief therapy can be quite good because there's also no set agenda for a solution-focused process. So we simply begin the process group by saying, what are your best hopes from this process? And people can answer that, and they might have different hopes. One person might say, I want to get some answers. Somebody else might say, I want a better relationship. And somebody else might say, I want to stop using drugs, right? So they might be really different. One of the things that we need to do is take time with each individual. Not a lot of time, but a short amount of time, and say, if we move that forward into a desired outcome, what desired outcome would you hope for? So if somebody says, I want a better relationship, and I say, what difference would it make to have a better relationship? And they say, I would be happy. I would be the kind of partner I want to be. I can take that happiness, being the kind of partner I want to be. And if somebody comes in and they say, I want to stop using drugs, and I say, if you were able to stop using drugs, what difference would that make? And they might say, I would feel clean. I would feel a sense of satisfaction. I would feel like I accomplished something. So now I have to hold on to, I want to be happy. I want to be the partner I want to be with. I want to be clean. I want to feel a sense of satisfaction. I want to feel like I accomplished something. Those two things aren't necessarily mutually exclusive. If I'm happy, if I'm the kind of partner I want, I have also achieved something. I've also been able to accomplish something that I wanted to accomplish. And so I can hold on to those things and say, okay, I want to just talk about accomplishments in general. I want to talk about being the version of myself that I want to be. So I go around the room and I get these desired outcomes, and presumably they all start to fit together in, I want to be this kind of a person. Whether that's I want to be an accomplished person, whether that means I want to be a happy person, whether that means I want to be a confident person. And so I start to say, if you became the person you wanted to be, and then I use their exact language, if you became confident, if you became an accomplisher, if you became happy, what differences would you start to notice? And then you just let them process those differences. So you can hear in that answer, the questions stay the same. It's my job to hold on to as many of those things as I possibly can and to use them back and to use their language in a way that's useful for them. And so one of the things I think that's really, really valuable is that we, as the facilitator of the process group, we have to be able to hold on to lots and lots of information, lots of language. We also have to be able to make connections between people who presumably have nothing in common. But what we do is we still do a description. So I could, in a process group, say, go back to a time when you had that desired outcome you were looking for. Can you tell me bits and pieces of it? And I move from person to person, and I start to make connections. I start to see where there's commonalities. I start to see where their language overlaps. Or I can ask them questions about what resources they have, what strengths they have, what characteristics do they have that might facilitate them to accomplish these things. What do you know about yourself that lets you know you're the kind of person who could be a good partner? What do you know about yourself that lets you know you're the kind of person who might actually achieve becoming clean from substances, right? And as they talk, I listen, I take into consideration, and they might say, well, I'm a patient person. Well, I'm somebody who doesn't give up. I'm a determined person. Then I can come back and I can be like, if you used patience and you used determination, what difference would that make? So the process is the same. My job is a bit harder because now I have to have conversations with multiple people. I have to bring these things back together. I have to ask one question that's relevant to multiple people. But when I hold on to this is about becoming the version of themselves they want to become, then those questions are a bit easier. Those questions flow a bit more. So it's my job to hold on to where are we in the diamond? How do I get a good desired outcome from each person in the group? And what do I do to facilitate this description that's relevant for each person in the group? So that was like a lightning description. Hopefully that was useful. Hopefully that was helpful to you. I would love to hear your thoughts about that. If you have additional questions about how to use this with groups, please let me know. I'll do my best to answer as much as I can. But in the meantime, I hope that was useful, and I hope that you can hear how the process stays quite similar. It's just with more people in the room.